Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. If you can't tell by the title and the thing below, we're going to be talking to SpaceCutlet today. So I've told you guys before, once things aren't really like coming out as far as content from CIG, I love bringing on my friends and talking to them. I've spoken to SpaceCutlet specifically about we can't have Cutlet on a show with other people because Cutlet, I think the best word to call it, gets stun locked and just goes on rants for so long that the other guest doesn't get an opportunity. So we wanted to bring Cutlet on by himself, let Cutlet go and do his thing. I think he's incredibly knowledgeable about the game and has some awesome ideas, and I'd love to hear them without having to be like, yo, stop, you know? So let's hear everything he has to say. So let's bring on SpaceCutlet. Here he is. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to another Answer the Call podcast. What's up?
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Hi, guys.
So we wanted to have like specific kind of topic where I think the best thing to do is sort of talk about piracy. But I also want to talk about the future of Star Citizen. Where do you think it's going? Oh, I have game music in the background. So I'm curious what you're going to think about that. But before we do, let's start out with, in case people don't know you, who is SpaceCutlet? Where can they find you? Where do you make most of your content? So many people popped in my channel about your most recent YouTube short, and said that they like that.
The YouTube short, yeah.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about the YouTube short, I mean, I can describe myself as that guy. He made a YouTube rant video of an hour length why I don't play Star Citizen, and then literally hours later streamed Star Citizen on Twitch and does so until today. That's probably my description from Star Citizen refunds. And that's everything people have to know about me. Jokes aside, yeah, I do stream Star Citizen, and I do mostly piracy content to an extent of being able to do so in the current state of the game.
For what the game allows you.
Yeah. I recently started to not narrow vision myself of piracy. I just basically jerk around the verse, sometimes alone, sometimes with viewers, because there is like that much you can do with piracy right now, right?
Yeah.
In the game, so we can see like we have a very talented like pirate group who do content creation too, Mongrel Squad, right? And
Yes.
they moved to YouTube mostly, right? And we can talk about different reasons for doing so on their side. I don't want to talk too much on their behalf, but I'm pretty sure one of the reasons is it's like pretty demoralizing to try to do an live content on piracy. It's much easier to have a good hit, make a montage, and put it up on YouTube, right? And then you bypass the majority of the wait time, and that is something I have to deal with on a daily basis. So yeah, I just do different stuff right now. But yeah, main focus is piracy. You can find me at Jumptown, of course.
Yes.
You can find me at SpaceCutlet's Twitch. Do I have underscore? No, I don't. It's one word. SpaceCutlet Twitch. Same goes to YouTube.
The last time you were on here, I think I mistakenly put an underscore or something. So the way it's spelled on the stream.
I have an underscore. Yeah, it is correctly on the stream below my portrait, but on the bottom, SpaceCutlet rants, you have a space bar. I don't have that. I do have an underscore on Twitter. So if you want to see me renting on Twitter, put an underscore there.
Here, let me fix this for the thing. But I think let's start out quickly with a little bit of Jumptown talk, because we did the podcast last week on Jumptown. I really wanted to have you, Moist, Burks, everybody I've been playing Jumptown with. So we'll spend like 5 or so minutes on that with regards to Jumptown. And I think it's been awesome. And I think obviously it can be better, but I really do think it's been quite really, really good. And I think the reason why is because they didn't try, like, you've played Ninetales as well, right? So we can kind of touch on
Yeah.
the difference between Ninetales and Jumptown real quick with regards to, sorry, you're going to hear a Windows sound, guys. Oh, that didn't even fix it. Okay, whatever. Well, I'll fix it in a second. The idea of they didn't go ahead and say, "Hey, we're going to," that should fix it. There we go. So, we're going to make a mission with NPCs in Ninetales. This mission has no NPCs at all. And the reason why Jumptown makes sense is they go here, there's stuff here, and then allows whatever happened to happen. You can argue, like, maybe the A2 is a little powerful, or this thing is a little bit annoying, this, that, and the other thing. But in general, them just going, okay, go here and let's see what happened, is actually in the spirit of Jumptown. So for me, like, after playing it for a while, I think that they achieved Jumptown to some extent. More than we originally thought they would.
So you want me to talk that through a bit?
Sure,
How much hours do I have for that? How many hours do I have to talk about Jumptown?
I said let's do it for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah. So I'll use a very quick phrase. It becomes, I think it's becoming a trendy meme right now. I would definitely say thank you to Moist Noodle coming up with that phrase. It describes literally all the Star Citizen, and it says better than nothing.
Yeah.
So I think Jumptown is that occasion when it's definitely better than nothing. I do really appreciate CG coming up with it. And I do agree with the majority of your points. Though I think it's a bit of an abuse of the legacy of the Jumptown itself, like it was, like the original JT Wars. They needed that to hype up the event, but they could easily go without calling it a Jumptown. Personally, I would be feeling better if it had nothing to do with the word Jumptown.
And they just left it is that what is legacy.
Yeah, because I think there are a few things they missed that was like critical for original Jumptown things. It wasn't an event, obviously, right? Yeah. So one of the main points is it could happen on any server, anytime. Yep. And there was no funneling of players by the means of the event. There was funneling of players by the means of risk reward, right? Yes. And that is something that is completely different, right? So basically,
in this scenario,
you have no risk.
There's no risk, right?
Yeah, but besides your time, right? So the only thing you risk is earning smaller amounts of money, doing something else repetitively in game, versus risking your time and earning no money. But let's be honest, right? So the moment you launch the Star Citizen client, you start risking your time, right? So time is like an equal risk for anything you do in Star Citizen, right? So there's kind of a bit of a scripty thing. I don't really like about it. And a lot of people complain about like conga lining on JT. I don't think there is too much to complain about it, because we all have to understand when they conga line, they just pull out the boxes that we take. I don't mind it. Thank you. You know? So your soul decide with like 5 people doing that, you take all their boxes, you go away, it's their problem. It's basically that risk, that only risk they take is their time, and we like abuse it, right? I think if CG had like the boxes pop out for price, so the profit is similar, but you pay for the boxes, I think the conga lining would go out away naturally, unless it is a pre-organized, basically, group of people who just want to share the profit, right?
Agreed. But then there's still the opportunity to always break it up, which I think is okay. That's why I don't mind the conga lining, because I mean, that's what we've been doing lately, is we're jumping servers, finding conga lines, and breaking them up. And it's been the most fun I've had.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the things you want to do. And can you pull this off, or will the protection will be enough to like fuck you over and all that. So that's like probably this risk thing is one of the biggest issues that I have with it, right? And then on top of that, the goals of the players on different sides, right? And I think here's the thing: we have Xenothreat as an event. It is a PvE event unless you, as a PvP player, unless you imagine quote unquote stuff of being on the side of Xenothreat. That is not implemented as a native like gameplay mechanics. So Xenothreat will still shoot you, but you can just go and mess someone's day up, right? We have Ninetales where there are distinctive sides, right, on the event. So you have good guys, bad guys. The event itself is not polished, but I think in the future, Ninetales will be a good event when servers can handle it. I think the game is just not ready for the event, not the event is bad. It's very like
I just feel it doesn't feel like a blockade at all. It's weird. Like the guy who's running cargo has no risk almost.
Oh no, dude! We shot people with millions inside.
Yeah.
They have full risk. The moment they run cargo, they have a marker on them. And we specifically went for them.
Oh,
and like
I didn't know that. So that's changed.
You have a marker that is called cargo runner, blockade runner. And the marker will be on top of the head of the guy who runs it when he enters the area of operations, right?
Okay.
So the moment you shoot down a C2 full of med supplies, they lose like 1 million, dude.
And do the boxes drop that you could pick up or no?
I tried to find the boxes. I never saw them, but it's due to servers. Yeah. So it's a weird approach with Ninetales. I want to quickly touch it because it will lead me to some points in Jumptown discussion.
Okay.
It is a weird approach with Ninetales because on one side, criminals cannot properly earn good kind of cash on the Ninetales event. But the lawful guys can, doing those med runs, but they risk a lot, right? They can earn like $500,000 or $1 million per this run, but they also risk $1 million. So it's weird that there is no option for an outlaw guy to have similar opportunities unless you cooperate with someone on a good side. So you're kind of blockading, but you will let them go through and you will protect them and you will share the profit, right?
This is just an issue of cargo not being physicalized, right? Essentially. Because if you as the pirate would have the ability, like you gain the advantage that the cargo hauler has because you see his marker, but because the game isn't finished and you can't take his goods is the reason why you can't succeed with it.
The problem, if we could take his goods, their goods, the problem would be selling them.
Yeah, then you just have one lawful player that doesn't have a crime rating, and you just
there is a way to kind of organize that.
Sure,
indeed, and like all other like things, like just event being like slow, like markers for scanning ships don't pop up, like it just so many NPCs at the last phase, it just doesn't work. Yeah, I think the event itself is pretty good. Ninetales, opposite of what a lot of people say.
Yeah.
Probably my main point is it's just the game and the servers are not ready for that event. And maybe even the population limited to 50 people.
Yep.
It's just not ready. It's either, in a lot of cases, it's either outlaws or law enforcement will overwhelm the opposing side. And it's one side or other side, it just can do nothing in a lot of cases because server is going to get polarized pretty easily. And on top of that, you go to jail when you're an outlaw. Like if you're playing pure outlaw, you have very little reward, like shooting down the cargo runners, doing the mission, and then you go to jail, Clasher chops your head off, and all that stuff happens. So again, that's not the problem of the event. That's the problem of the game itself, right? So my point was why I started talking about this. So Xenothreat is theoretically a pure PvE event. Ninetales is a PvP event with two distinctive sides with different objectives, and those objectives differ. And what I think is weird, and I would personally probably, if I would be the designer, on the jump down. What I would do different is I wouldn't do any sides in jump down because they make very little sense. Uh, Basically, two different sides on jump down is have the same objective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
the
it's
point?
true.
You just take the boxes and deliver them.
Yeah.
It has very little. It has very little difference between the objectives of two different sides, and it just one side has a literally a wall hack, and the other side doesn't. Right? It's especially dreadful on foot because like they will pre-fire you from the corners, and I
Yeah.
mean I shouldn't tell you what a god marker is, right?
Yeah.
So in my personal opinion, what CG should have done, they should have created, just like Grim hacks, a no comlink bubble zone around an active event area of operations. And then, yeah, you can go with a crime stat. And if you do so, you kind of risk to go to jail if you're getting killed. But there will be no bounty hunters with like 7 and 8s shooting you on the ground, like with AoE, just for the memes and not even going on foot and all that. I think that could have been done better. I think definitely in future they should think about no comlink zone, and then even if you're a criminal, you can just hack down or whatever means you prefer to get rid of the crime stat, and you go in to the jump down. And all of this like good bad delivery sides that should be gone. It should be either multiple or a single point where you'll get a lot of cash for the drugs. Again, that is my personal opinion. I might be wrong. It just, when you do an event, you want people to participate in it.
Yeah.
And if you create two different sides, like they should either be equal, and things that are outside of that event that happened previously shouldn't be like shouldn't affect it too much. But we have an event that is called Nine Tiles for that, which has two sides. They should have done like an jump down in no man's land one, like it's a free for all. You have an objective, and it doesn't matter which side you're on. You go for the objective, and and you try to use the necessary force, get out, get profit. And today you're a good guy, but outside of comlink you're just a murderer, whatever.
Sure.
It's my personal thing. What else? Another thing I want to point out quickly, I mean, it's already taken too long. Another thing I want to point out quickly with the jump down, I think it's a good opportunity. Like jump down is a bit of a thing with the missed opportunities. It's a good opportunity for like combined arms, and they're very hard right now, jump down. And that goes into multiple things like anti-air, right? Surface to air things. I think CAG in future should think about multiple solutions to that. Either placing some kind of invincible turrets around the drug lab that will disallow hovering of ships right on top of the JT. So you kind of split up the fight where there is like an air superiority combat going on for ability to go in and land and take off. And then you have like ground forces fighting over the drug lab itself, right?
Yeah.
I think that would be good. Like if there will be missile spam from the torp launchers on the ground and like repeaters, so people cannot just hover. That would be kind of nice. So basically, what you have to do, you go in with a vehicle carrier, you deploy troops, they drive in, they do the stuff, they drive out, and then they take off, something like that. So there's like multiple scenarios happening at the same time. Again, I don't want to dive into it too much. I have like different ideas. They can either do like AA stuff, or they can do extra small restock pads around the drug lab without an ability to spawn a ballista, but with an ability to restock it consistently, right?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff like signatures are completely broken. Fixing that will help too.
Yeah.
We can see even tumbrils from a kilometer, right? It's bad. We can see hover bikes from 10 kilometers. It's just ridiculous. if they would make ground forces practically invisible, like tumbrils 50 meters, I don't know, Spartans 100 meters, ballistas 150, 200 meters, tanks like 300 meters, that would place it's basically like having like a light fighter. For a light fighter, its survival depends on its small cross section and insane agility,
Yeah.
right? And for ground vehicles, their feat of survival is being invisible, practically, right? So when they would do that, that will become much more interesting. So if you want to deal, unless you bomb everything, if you want to deal with ground forces, you have to do something on foot. Yes, people will say it's not like in real life, air superiority is everything, but it's like it
This is
doesn't
a
matter
video
what is
game.
in real life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
this
is
is
a
a
video
video
game.
game.
So it has
If
to
you will
work.
make it, yeah, if you will make it like in real life, no one will go on foot. Who would be like in real life? Like countries measure their force with money, right? It's they have a limited supply of hardware, and you can get more troops, like if you really want to.
I mean, in real
Here, it's
life, we
all about
mostly use drones now. We're not even putting people in vehicles anymore. So we're
yeah,
already
yeah,
outside.
exactly.
We're like with Star Citizen is already outside the realm of the future, considering that we're flying single seater ships and dogfighting, right? So
Oh,
like,
true,
like
true,
we like that's why like
true.
when people make those arguments, I just like, oh my god, it makes me cringe so hard
Yeah, yeah.
because it's just
You
like,
have
dude,
to.
it's got to be fun. And I think you're 100% right about the idea of the only thing that protects the ground vehicles, because they move way slower than the ships, and a ship is able to target them and have a pip and all these things on a vehicle that's barely moving, so they have like basically an aim lock on them,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the only thing that should be able to protect them is if that pilot is not good enough to stay within that couple 100 meters, they're gonna have a hard time hitting that vehicle
It's even not about
or seeing it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's basically you have to detect vehicles literally visually, or you just cannot do that, like,
Yeah,
because otherwise it will never work. I just think so. It's my personal,
I
at
think
least
you're
in the
right.
current realities, it will not work. Yeah.
Yeah, in the
And
current reality, sure, yeah.
we have to understand, in every MMO game, especially in the open world PvP, it's not about the hardware you have, because especially in Star Citizen, when everyone can buy spaceships, right, and the vehicles with their money, it doesn't matter what hardware you have. Everyone has hardware. It's about the human resource.
Yeah.
So you want to spend your human resource clever. So if a person on foot is nothing, why would they even go on foot, right? So it has to be balanced. It's nice, like with the railguns and size 1 ships, 1-2 shots, and you can actually destroy the light fighter.
Yeah.
But it's like limited, right? We have to understand that. Yeah, need to be balanced. And then mobs, the bombs, size 9, torping, dumb firing, all of that stuff. They should think about it. Bombs definitely should have a fuse timer, like unless they are X amount of time
I
in the
think
air after drop, they shouldn't detonate. I think some kind of that solution,
okay. Yeah, I thought there was, when we talked about it last week, Trip Rodriguez, he streams on Twitch as
Yes.
well. He was in chat and he said there should be a minimum drop height. So you shouldn't be able to
Oh, but
drop them from, it's basically the same thing you're saying, but a little
yeah,
bit different.
yeah.
Yeah, like you have to be a certain height to
Height,
drop the bomb.
yeah, height is hard to like understand how that's gonna work, both on lore and in game mechanics, right?
Yeah.
But fuse timing, like a prime timer, is kind of more understandable. The height would differ, obviously, depending on the gravity and the atmo, but it should be balanced the way you have it. Like for every, especially OP mechanics, there has to be a counter mechanics, right?
Yeah.
There has to be a counter action. A properly dropped bomb with a chaff below 500 meters have
You
no
can't see.
counter action,
Yeah.
and that's a problem. Yeah, and that's a problem. Like something like in an imagined territory, placing specific turrets around outposts. In this case, drug labs, like Gatlings that are that just work like a point defense turrets, and literally they have only 2 targets they will go for: bombs and size 9 torps, for example. It's a hard imagine. I know, but they could have like 2 literally only 2 targets they will react to, which are going to be like bombs and size 9s, and they will have a small radius just to cover the outpost.
Yeah.
And yeah, all that. And then going deeper is like, yeah, you can make disable and enable buttons inside of the outpost, even remote control of those turrets, like anything. But it doesn't matter how CAG does it. There has to be some kind of a AA initiative in this event going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everything else about the jump town is more of a problems with the games, like doors not working.
Oh
People
God,
can
yeah.
barricade them when themselves and not allow you to storm them. Like how bad the airlock, like pushing the airlock is just a mid grinder with the grenade launchers, one entrance thing. Like in future I would like to see like multiple entrances, maybe multiple floors with a basement, like
Dude, when we were
something.
when we were stealing people's ships, I got to the door to the main room where the drugs are. I waited till they were all in there, and the people were so comfortable they were leaving their ship door open. So I just waited and I spam clicked the button, and they were all stuck in the room, and we stole their ships while I was just
Oh
waiting
yeah,
there.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, they could probably alt afford just not let you get the profit, but they wouldn't because they still have a hope to get the ship back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, they just didn't know what was going on. They were like, "Oh, somebody's blocking the
Mm-hmm.
door," and then they go outside, their ship was gone, and it was just so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I like first off, people that are watching, this is exactly why we have Cutlet here. Like you can obviously see his knowledge of the game is super strong, and he can just talk about it for forever. Like we were like, hey, let's do 5 minutes, and we did 25 minutes
Yeah.
basically, but it was all stuff that is like totally good feedback for the game. And
I
just
think one of
I'll
the
agree with
just
most
just
of it. Yeah.
just to add up like few more things is probably the boxes themselves. I think it was not my personal at least opinion, it was not the best idea to have the small boxes. We do have knowledge that the CG has a physicalized SCU boxes, the big ones that you could move.
Yeah. When the ships
If
explode,
Yeah,
right? We get them.
no, the big ones, the SCU size, like the medical supplies on Ninetales and the racks, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they do have all the boxes for all the commodities in their database, in
Yep.
their data files. They just don't use them.
Yeah.
I think spawning like one SCU maze boxes, let them take like 10 times more to produce, right? uh, because they're basically like one small box is 12 units, one big box is 100 units. So let
Yep.
them take 10 times more to produce. But that will get rid of a lot of like airlock wars with the boxes. When you have to manage that nonsense, people get stuck, they're pushed into the roof, they have to dance to, they have to relog. um, and having SCU boxes, complete like big SCU boxes, would even give us a bit of a feel of a refactored cargo in the future. That would be nice. They would probably need to have a dispenser with the small boxes too for players who don't have ships that can take SCU containers.
I mean, don't
But
you
they
think
would
it's
just
better idea to just remove like have you ever done like the there's like remove garbage missions, and sometimes you go to these
yes,
drug labs that have no doors at all, and they're just kind of
yes.
like I think they should just use
Yeah,
one of those.
that's another thing. That's another thing. Yeah, yeah.
You know,
That
and that's just like a
maybe.
simpler way of like it doesn't matter. I feel like it doesn't matter the size of the box. It just matters the value of it, and then let's just simplify things a little bit more. Like there's no reason to have all these doors. They made an FPS level. They made things for you to hide behind. So like once you're
Yeah,
inside doesn't mean that you're safe. So why even bother having the doors on there? It just prevents a lot of
yeah.
that hide behind the doors. All right, open the door now, grenade launcher in. It'll be a lot easier
Yeah,
for people to be like, I see people coming through the door, and make it a little bit
I
easier.
actually completely agree with that. Maybe because they want still Jump Town overall as a drag lab to be a drug lab, to be
Yeah.
a closed environment, but maybe they should
That
have
goes back
created
to your
another
first
build
point. You know,
and,
it
and
didn't have to be
another
Jump Town.
building. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What I mean, they want the outpost to be like a pressurized environment, but they could
Yes.
create another building nearby that pumps out the stuff and
Yeah.
do something different without the airlock. Yes, I do agree with that. Um, I think overall, if they did the big SCU boxes, the ships you come in with would matter and it would be more fun because you can stuff any ship always almost with an infinite amount of the small boxes. But
Yeah.
if the boxes would be big, it would be interesting how people will manage the physical space of the ships with those big
True.
boxes.
And
I would
logistics
really
in
like to see
general.
that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
logistics
I
in
would really
general.
like to see that. That might have been interesting, but again. I hope they will like listen and do something. Yeah, I think like I covered the majority of stuff I wanted to talk about, like quickly, quote unquote, about GTA. Everything else is like it's like mostly the game problems, like inventory problems, people despawning, you cannot loot them, out of
Yeah.
foring, invisible dissing Rambo players. Like we got wiped out 2 times by one guy who was invisible to us, and then the moment we rewarp, we eliminated him instantly because he became visible.
Of
All of
course, yeah.
that's things, but yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, all
Okay.
those are just like general game problems that hopefully they fix. But what
Yeah.
I like about Jumptown in particular is I think it has more eyes on it. It has been more fun, and more people are paying
Yeah.
attention to it than ever. And it highlights these things. I hope what it does is it highlights that ground vehicles are basically useless. They aren't. They actually have use, but there's problems with them that make them more difficult to use than they should
Yeah.
be. Things like that.
It's
This hopefully highlights things, and hopefully they
it's
action it. Like, have you ever had
I
more fun in
completely
this
agree,
game?
dude. I mean, back in the days, like the original JT was quite fun, but that's probably since then. Maybe 3.8 was a similar fun with the Laranite Rush.
Yeah,
For the reason because we actually had a complete loop where we could sell the cargo of the traders
yeah.
with
Like
that
there was a bug
exploit.
that you could steal it, kind of, right? Yeah,
Yeah, that was like the close to this fun, and probably I will even put that on top of above the JT because that was
yeah,
organic.
yeah.
This is a bit like funneled,
Forced.
scripted on timer, right? But yeah, I think it's good. The overall, obviously the event is super cool to have and have fun. Unfortunately, apparently, it is the only way to highlight the issues with the game. Like it seems they don't really listen. Like because everything I went through right now while I was talking about the jump town, I've been pointing out like either on Spectrum or in private, like about the signatures and all that to the
Yep.
devs for years,
Yeah.
and like the
They don't
signatures,
action our
everything.
feedback.
Like
It's
yeah,
a joke.
yeah. So hopefully this will some kind of highlight it to them. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the event is fun. Definitely, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Like it, if you ask me, like every day, sure.
Yeah.
Of course, it's
I
good.
would play this every day until they talked about until they do our next topic. And I want to talk about the future of piracy a little bit in 2022. We know there's some things that are possibly coming. You know, they were delayed, and hopefully we get the cargo refactor. So that's one thing that's like pretty important for this. I think it's like paramount. But there's one thing I want to ask you specifically.
I'm already opening the roadmap, dude. Give me
Yeah,
a
yeah.
second.
About the time. I knew you were the second I knew you were. It's like 318, right? So
Yeah.
there's one thing in particular that I'm really worried about. They've shown a sneak peek of it, but we don't know exactly how it's going to function.
Okay.
There's a big part of piracy that needs to happen in order for it to work, right? That is disabling ships.
Okay.
We could do that now. I think I really, really enjoy using distortion damage. I think it's awesome.
Okay.
What happens when a ship is flying and you use distortion damage? They slow down really fucking slow, right? It's really hard to stop them. Tractor
Unless
beams,
they're around the
and yeah, unless they're on
go
the
ahead.
planet, right? Tractor beams
no,
are
unless they're around the Lagrange points.
Oh, okay. For some
Mm-hmm.
reason they slow down quickly there.
Yeah, it's like it takes that atmo that Lagrange point has because Lagrange points have resistance. It have pockets of resistances.
Okay.
But the moment the ship is offline, it like multiplies that resistance by 100, and the ship just literally breaks in 5-10 seconds to
Oh,
zero.
wow. That's cool.
Only when it's offline. Only.
Yeah. So for piracy to work, you can't obviously blow up the ship. You need to be able to board it, right? And all those things. So in order to get that, I'm hoping we've seen a sneak peek of tractor beams. I'm hoping that that's a thing. You have the roadmap open. I actually haven't looked at it yet, to be honest. Do we have any idea of when tractor beams are going to exist? And do we think that they're going to utilize them in that way? Like, I'm super worried that they're going to put tractor beams in, and you're just going to have a ship moving a big SCU size box because you won't be able to do it with like a tractor beam holder or whatever. And then all you're utilizing your ship for is to move these boxes into each other and not actually utilize it for piracy aspects. And I really, really hope CIG, like, please, 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 you're gonna kill something potentially awesome if you don't allow ship-based tractor beams to slow down ships. Obviously, if they're powered on, you shouldn't be able to, but I'm saying if they're powered off and they're not producing a force, I hope something like that. But yeah, I mean, are you worried about that in particular? Because I think that is like I've watched Mongrel Squad videos, right? The amount of time it takes them to slow a ship down once they've distorted it,
it's like half an hour.
It's like half an hour to an hour. It's like insane.
Unless you do the specific tricks, but I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. It's
like
just
disengramming a ship, for example.
But, yeah, which is like totally like kind of TOS and also like not the way anybody wants that to go down.
Oh, well, for sure. Yeah.
You know?
So I think actually you're a bit pessimistic here.
I hope I usually am.
Or maybe I'm a bit optimistic and I'm maybe in my Piracy Imagine thing.
I mean, you guys always seem to find a way. So there's that. But
it's not about like finding a way. I think it's going to be pretty simple. It's either they will allow it or not.
Yeah.
So we may have the scenario where when the ship is drifting, and like you have the multi-tool tractor beam, right?
Sure.
And when something is above the mass it can work with, it just won't push an object, right? It will just say like mass is too big. So it's either they will allow a partial force injection into an object no matter what mass it is, and it will be just a matter of how big the mass is, so it will take longer to stop, or they will not.
Well, I'll tell you this. It was mentioned, now we know that we can't trust their words on anything, but it was mentioned that this was the purpose for, like, remember the SRV ship? Like, that's what it was used for. Like, if you were trying to salvage a ship or something like that, one of the things that it would be used for is to, like, get it to stop spinning, things like that. So that's what tractor beams are for. I just don't know if, like, the amount of speed that a ship might be going at, whether or not it's relative to the speed that you are, if they're going to allow it. I'm basically pleading for them.
I don't even know if the ship is going at a kilometer per second, will you be able to log the tractor beam on it with a dissing? Because none of us knows how the tractor beams are going to work. Because I'm pretty confident the technology, the tag that will go behind the ship-mounted tractor beams has very little to do with your handheld tractor beam.
Okay.
Right. It's like with the mining, like the ROC mining has nothing to do with the asteroid mining, which I feel is bad, but it is what it is. It's completely two different tags. How the extraction works and all that. Like with a gray cat, with a rock mining vehicle, you extract actual physicalized entities.
Yeah.
With the prospect or mole mining, you just extract the animation of rocks going in, which they're not really something you extract, right? Two different systems. So I think the ship-mounted tractor beams are going to be the same. They're going to work differently too, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a tractor beam operator mode.
Yes,
like I'm not even joking. Like 100%. There's going to be, and it's better be like that because like it's going to be much easier to do. I might even think that if ship is not offline, you will be able to.
You're here. Wait, what just happened? Oh no. You guys hear me, right? Okay, you're there. Good.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. We just had a little thing where you had a hiccup, but it was at the exact time that I was messing with things, so I didn't know if I did it or not. Go ahead though.
I think no. I think actually this is my ISP freaking out. It was just a coincidence.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I might even think that theoretically, even when they are uh, still online, you will be able to affect their vector, but obviously
Okay.
you will have to fight for it. But yeah,
Well, yeah, that would
I
be
mean,
cool. Think of a scenario where, like even a jump town scenario where somebody's trying to take off and maybe they're in a smaller
yeah,
ship, and you have like 5 tractor beam ships just holding them on
yeah,
the
just
ground.
pushing them down with all your
Yeah.
Cuddy Blacks, right? Or a
Yeah.
Cutlass Steel, who
Oh,
knows?
it's got to be the steel. Got to be.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually not too pessimistic on that, on the tractor beams. I think they do realize that finally with the cargo factor, it is they have to bring that with it. I wouldn't be surprised that the tractor beams will be there at 318 as a surprise thing. There is a reason why they teased them.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
they
they've
did
teased
show it.
things before.
Yeah, they've yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. Who knows?
I
It's
just
hard.
feel like you can't deliver. You absolutely can't deliver the cargo refactor without this tractor. These tractor
Yeah,
beams
like
on ships.
because how would you put in the boxes in your ships, right?
Yeah.
How would you put on the bigger boxes? It just won't work. Like
Well, they have
the bigger SCU container.
they have that dedicated gun too that they're talking about, which I think can carry that size of a
Yeah,
box.
but and what if it is a 32 SCU container? That gun will not handle it.
No, it shouldn't.
So the gray cat, like a big gun that dropped in the PTU of 315, I think,
Uh huh.
as an invisible item.
Yep.
It's still a handheld gun. Maybe it's good at tackling the 1 SU boxes, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't handle the 32 SU box.
Agreed.
So that will definitely come in with a cargo factor.
Good point. Yeah.
And I hope they do understand that cargo factor means the next level of piracy, so they will
Yeah.
consider like an ability to stop ships. Though those things can be tackled in different ways. Even if we will not be able to stop the ships with the tractor beams, I know from my personal talks with CUG, they are completely aware of this problem
Okay.
that you cannot that the ships keep drifting
Yeah.
in almost infinitely, like half an hour, whatever. And my hopes are they will at least, if not tractor beams, they will at least come up with the solution to that.
I mean,
And
it's
if
almost as simple as just going like, maybe not, right? Because if you're not in space and you're uncoupled and you just let off the gas, it still slows down really slow, right?
no, if you are in open space without atmosphere, you mean?
Correct.
No, if you don't turn off the ship, it will not slow down.
Yeah.
It will slow down though. Like it feels like overall, if you look at how the game works, it feels like uh, even deep open space has a space drag, and that is done. That is done to different reasons in the game engine. Also, that is done for the boxes to stop and like bodies stop floating infinitely and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like whenever you turn off the ship, that resistance, that
Is
space
ignored.
resistance, is multiplied by insane amount.
Okay.
So basically, when you're flying in decoupled in open space, you will keep flying and flying and flying. When you turn off the ship, it will slowly bleed off the speed. When you are in the cloud, in a Lagrange cloud, when you fly in decoupled, you will slowly drop the speed because of the resistance. But when you turn off the ship, you will literally just stop because like
Mm-hmm.
that resistance somehow feels like it's multiplied by 10, by the factor of 10 or whatever, whenever your ship is offline. So um also for people to understand, a lot of this goes into the IFCS and how it works.
Yeah.
um it's hard to say how exactly it works. Is it like actual like resistance from the outside that affects the ship, in space, or is that inside of the ship, but IFCS fakes it?
Yeah,
So it's really hard. But from what I've been told, all of this is the part of the IFCS. So I think if they really wanted, the moment the ship is offline, they could just write the logic. And don't get me wrong, so people understand it. When you turn off the ship, that doesn't mean IFCS system doesn't work, right? It still works. So in the game logic. So what they could have done is forcing the ship to drop its speed when the moment the ship is offline, no matter is it like outer space or atmosphere and all that.
agreed. Yeah,
So yeah, so I think when we have refactored cargo, they definitely understand what it means for PvP and pirate players. Hopefully, maybe I'm too optimistic here. Maybe I'm still like in my little Copium Imagine bubble, but I
I
think
think
they
you
will deal with
are.
that.
Yeah, I think you are because I think a lot of times they bring in the cargo refactor, but it seems like the focus tends to be on what what lawful things they can do, and they don't
It's
really
always is. It's always
exactly.
is, and
And
then we
that's why I
find
don't think.
tools, right?
Yeah, and then you find a way to make it happen,
Yeah,
but they don't put that in their like you're not in their POV when they're designing
yeah,
the aspects of the game, and
yeah.
that's why I'm
That is
worried
true.
about
But
that. And the only need for a tool like the tractor beam to basically do that would
to
be
sell more SRVs, right?
true. I just mean like
So the
the
moment they
only
will
reason to
sell
slow down a ship is for piracy, technically. So there's not really too many scenarios where it's not a pirate that would be doing something like that I can think of. I don't know, maybe you can,
yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying.
I'm worried they
The
don't have
first
that in their
scenario,
mind.
the first scenario would probably be when they actually want to launch SRV.
Yeah.
So they will work on that, and
Yep.
then they will want to. They would like to sell more SRVs, Argo SRVs, and they will make it so SRV can actually stop the ship. We will see though. Like I definitely know there is a part of CEG employees that are very keen to see finally like real piracy work, and it's just that much that they can do. But they're really looking forward to like cargo factor, and I hope inside the company, inside all the bureaucracy that is going there, and like basically they're probably having their own little like wars inside of it, what they should do next, and
Yeah.
how to plan it, and should we cater this audience, should we cater that audience. I hope they will be heard at the point where that is actually important.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think like this, if anything, I don't think 2022 is going to be a good year for Star Citizen necessarily, because I think we're still going to be kind of stuck waiting for meshing. But I think it could be a really good year for piracy. I think it could be a really good year for cargo. I think it could be a really good year for kind of emergent type of gameplay aspects in the current state of the game. I think we could take the game that we have now and improve it so much more with some of the tools that they're planning on doing, without needing these major tech hurdles that they're still trying to climb over. I mean, obviously, we're going to have desync.
Yeah.
It's only going to get worse. Like, there's always going to be these problems until they stop using the server meshing excuse and just kind of nail it down. But we got to get the server meshing excuse out of the way first.
Yeah, I think it's not necessary. Like 2022 going to be super empty. The first half, I mean, sorry,
For
the
sure,
first
yeah.
half, because
Because we got to wait for 318.
Yeah,
For
it's
anything.
actually the 318, and here is what I think. That this is my little like idea about what's going on. So we all know they finally put up a time frame, right? So they said whatever how they call it, persistence replication thing, Q1, Q2.
Yep.
Like obviously read Q2, Q3, right?
Yeah.
And then server mashing Q3, Q4, read Q4, Q1 if they're going to be successful, right? So and I think that's the reason why 317 is quite shallow, and like majority of stuff have been pushed to 318.
Yep.
Because at 318 apparently they are at least hoping to have this
Persistence, yeah.
replication, whatever persistent thing, and That is important. That is important for probably also cargo refactor. It is important
Yeah.
for salvaging, because how would you preserve like the all the wrecks, right?
Yep.
In the verse, whatever. I mean, yeah, salvaging can be done by just like simple missions when a rack is spawned for you and you go and salvage it. But
Those are
all the
boring, I
player
feel like.
interaction
Yeah.
salvaging, right? They just cannot preserve all of that, right? So yeah, I think 318 is something to wait for, definitely. Like there is so many stuff there, including like besides salvaging and trading, like the new hacking, the at least what they show right now,
Yep.
0G stuff, like EVA stuff. It's pretty awesome. Like literally, I don't really care what 317 will bring. It's almost nothing. Like everyone, I think at this point are basically in a 318 waiting room, because
And and
that patch should
hoping
rock.
and hoping that it doesn't fall
Oh
off.
yeah, yeah. Then Mr. Chris Roberts will appear and just like Thanos, like boom, snap
Yeah.
the fingers, and everything is gone from 318 and moved to 342.
Yep.
We've
Which is
seen that, but yeah,
That's why I
that's the
just
hope.
don't look at the roadmap anymore. It's just like I made a Twitter post that it's like basically New Year's resolutions. Like nobody, like
Yeah,
everybody goes to the gym in the beginning of the year, and then they're all fat by the end of the year. And it's just
yeah,
that's what the roadmap is. It's just like a complete wish list. Like I hope I could do this,
yeah.
but I have no
It's
idea
like
if
a
I
wish
can.
list. It's a wish list, but it's just general vector. You
Direction.
can see, okay, they're probably willing to go for this, right? And
Yeah,
will they do it? It's like who knows, but
probably not, but
yeah,
we hope. I don't know. Is
yeah, but that's gonna be a major hit. Like if they hit the bullet points on 318, like the game will literally change, at least for me personally.
Me too.
It also depends, what can be. It could be like we did physicalized cargo. Hey, but the trade is still like dead. And
Yeah,
the physicalized cargo is there, but there is like one
no
trader in a
economy.
week. Yeah, one trader in a week you can catch, and you're like, yeah, you love the encounter, but then you have to wait another like 100 hours of gameplay to get another one.
Yeah.
It's yeah, could be different.
Yep. I mean, as far as like things that I wanted to talk about, it was basically that is just like what do you see the future of like piracy being? What do you see the future of the next like 6 months to a year being? And then other than that, like I mean, we're in such a weird time, but I do want to say this, like in regards to Jumptown and in regards to piracy gameplay, and like I've never had more fun in this game than this moment now, because I didn't
True.
participate really in Jumptown that much, and I
Hmm.
didn't participate in piracy ever really up to this point. And the moment of like stealing someone's stuff and moving the cargo to someone else's ship and just having to work together with friends in general, like this is the only moments that I've had that, and it's been so good. And like
Oh
just
yeah,
like I don't know, like even PvP, like I had a criminal rating yesterday and I was in an Aurora and a guy in an Arrow came, and like I fought him off because I've been practicing and like gotten a lot better
yep.
at it and things like that. Like so these moments have been really good, but I don't see myself doing the lawful things anymore because this stuff just seems more engaging than anything else. It's the only time you really get to engage with other players and interact with them. It's unfortunate that it has to be a negative interaction almost every time, but it's really the only time that you get that stuff.
I mean, it's not unfortunate. It's just it is what it is,
Yeah.
right? You get negative, you get positive interactions, but I think a CAG is trying too hard to create single player content.
Hmm.
And that's what I say. It will never be the way the um, whatever, either it is a PvP or non PvP interaction content with a player to player interaction. It's just it's always going to be better, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like at least for a person who is like willing to play the game, not just take screenshots. So yeah,
I mean, some
that's
people don't
literally
want
what.
that, to be fair. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
you and I are
true,
definitely
true,
the type of people who want that. Our history of games, our
true.
library of games definitely are those types, and
Yeah, I don't want to speak for the entire community. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
probably a good
Because
remark because there is
you've
the
seen YouTube
majority, I would
comments and Twitch
say.
comments where people are like, "Don't bring these things into my game," basically, because I don't want
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things.
yeah.
And
It's we're just
yeah,
probably talking about ourselves more than the
absolutely,
community.
yeah,
Yeah, but they're just good. Yeah, they're just good, and
they're
um,
easier.
I lost the thought. Shit.
It's okay. I'll jump in this situation. Things like Jump Town, where you have to interact with other players, it's easier. You don't have to wait for NPCs to spawn. You don't have to do any of these things. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the show. They need to do more stuff like this, where it's like, hey, go over here. Like, the funnel aspect needs to be more of a priority in 2022 than it's ever been before. They have to see that, like, there's good experiences and bad experiences. People are making money. People are getting their stuff stolen. People are shooting each other. There's bombs being dropped. Like, this is the only time that I've seen this since the last
This game being
Jump Town.
alive,
Yeah,
basically. The
it
game
is the
being
only time
alive.
that
Yeah.
the game felt alive, where Chris Roberts' vision existed. This is the only time it's ever existed.
Yeah, and then until the player count grows dramatically, funneling players is
Is
the
a
way to go.
must. Yeah.
Like,
Somebody in
yeah,
chat
it's
said 50 people is
unfortunately,
plenty if you get
fortunately,
them in the same area. There you
yeah,
go.
it doesn't matter if it's fortunate or unfortunate, but it is the key thing here. Until we have a much bigger player count that can intersect with each other, creating more organic, non-eventish types of
Yeah.
interactions, we have to be funneled. Yes,
Yeah.
there has to be. If it is trading, there have to be a definitive OP trading spots, right? Where
Yep.
if you want that profit, you have to risk. Like, it's hard with mining. It's the whole other story. I
Well, the mining
think
comes down
they
to
have.
the selling locations, right? They give you the opportunity to, um, I don't think you can funnel with mining right now unless
I mean, you can. You right now, no. With the current gameplay mechanics and the tag they have, you definitely cannot. So right now, mining is only about
you could,
catching them on the way back.
but you would have
But
to have one location with
maybe not one
hundreds of
location.
rocks. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like, few locations with hundreds of rocks that are all really valuable, and everybody goes there, and then it
Yeah,
comes.
there are games that do that.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the Elite Safety does that, right? With the
Albion
high
Online.
yield high yield locations, Albion, Eve. Uh, like, basically, it is giving players a known locations with a much more higher yield of profit compared to everything else, and then they choose: do they want to go there and be visible to everybody, like, hey, that is location that gives money, or do they want to go into the random Aaron Hallow spot and just spend 3 times, 4 times more time getting the same result they could gotten
Exactly.
in that
But
location,
they have
but
that
not
option.
risking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's really important.
and
Like,
this.
somebody in chat says the game is largely about exploring. I'm worried about that funneling turns it into another Fortnite. Boo. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, hey, the current state of the game only has 50 players in it, and in order to get player interaction, which is really fun, there needs to be opportunities for funneling. There has never been a situation where well, there's been, but there are very few situations where you do the Jumptown War stuff right now where the entire server is there. There are people doing it, and there are people who are not doing it, and there's the opportunities
Yes.
to do it if you want to, and there's not. And what Cutlet said is super, super important, is you can get the same payout in this location, but the amount of time it will take you to do it in Aaron's Halo, let's say, and be completely safe is the trade-off. There has to be trade-offs for these things, and the trade-off typically has to be is the higher risk, the highest rewards have to have the highest risk, and that has to be what happens.
Yeah, and also, like, when people in chat say that, they have to understand what exploration. There is no exploration right now in Star Citizen. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. And if you guys imagine exploration like infinite amount of star systems you have to explore, no, that's not how Star Citizen is gonna be.
It's essentially treasure
Like
hunting, is what we think it's going to be.
I think what exploration gonna be in a short slash long term. When I say this, I mean it's not gonna come out tomorrow, but like in the first iterations, I'm pretty much sure that all of those like Carrack explorers and other ships that have the exploration capabilities, it's gonna be scanning down points of interest, which could be like derelicts,
Hmm.
or which could be temporary asteroid fields, gas clouds. So you can either utilize that for your own profit or sell that information to others' profit, and they will keep like randomly appearing in star systems generated. So you have to constantly keep searching for them, sell that information, or give it to your miners whatsoever. Temporary jump points to other systems. It's basically something what Even Line does. Like Star Citizen will not be new here, because we all understand Star Citizen is more of a handcrafted experience. Yes, a lot of things are procedurally generated, but it's not
It's not
the Elite
elite.
Dangerous, what,
Yeah.
yeah, where there's like just billions and that's it. So yeah, I think that is what more of a kind of exploring people should expect from Star Citizen.
But even
And
then, it's not something that's really doable now. So a lot of the
yeah,
things that
exactly,
we're
that
trying to talk about, and I think that this is a theme for Cutlet, this is a theme for myself that I'm really trying to push, is Cutlet, I believe that you're just as patient as I am, in the sense
oh
of
yeah,
we know we've been around for a long time, we've been following the project, we know it's going to take a lot longer. And I am way more comfortable going, take even a little bit longer and make the current experience a little bit better, even
better,
if you have to
yes,
kind of push this thing that you're doing right now to the side at some point and redo it, or completely replace it with something else that you were planning on doing later. The current experience, we have to we want to play, and we have to be here to play it. And the idea of, I'm sorry, but I had a situation where the game thought I was dead today and I wasn't, and I was actually 30 meters from where my body was, but I don't see it. And it was like a thing where I had to have my friend come down and heal me inside of a bunker, but I'm inside my ship, and then I magically am on the ground when he heals me. It was like all this like weird
yeah,
stuff, like
dissing,
all these
yeah,
desyncs and all this thing where my gun won't stop coming out, crap
yeah.
like that. Those are the things that we'd like to have fixed, and those are the things that we typically talk about, is like tweak the experience, make it a little bit better so we can deal with it and be more patient, and you can make the game of your dreams. That when people say CIG is doing things that people have never done before, no, they haven't yet, but we would like them to. And I would like to
Yeah.
have an experience to be patient in while I'm waiting.
I 100% agree. Like when people talk to me about all this, like this game will never come out, and yeah, we all meme and joke. But I'm ready to wait. Like
Yeah.
we've been waiting for so long. It's fine. It's just make the waiting experience not just waiting for elevators
Yeah.
and reclaim timers. Make something better a waiting experience. Like when we wait for this game to be released, I don't want to feel like I'm infinitely waiting for an elevator and that's all I do in this game. Like I want to be waiting with fun. Like just pay a bit more attention to the current life scenarios. Like
Yeah.
what's going on, what's the problems. And I know it's such a hard topic because like there are so many buts to this, like how they build the project and like their priorities and all that. You just cannot say like, hey, I want this to be fixed, CAG, get on it, or I will
Yeah.
not play your. No, it's not work. It doesn't work like that. But it just feels this generic like sentiment, it goes through the entire community, that I think some of the lowest hanging fruits are not being like picked up,
Yeah.
and they probably should. I think it will build a much more healthy and um, not the dedicated, but loyal community that will the community that will have a much easier time advocating the product in front of someone else, even outside of the game, because yeah, like someone comes into my stream and they see us dropping out in a Spartan over Jumptown, and then we ride for 10 minutes, and then we go in, and then we all bail because we're being spotted. We'll bail, we'll run to Jumptown, and I just fall through the ground.
Yeah.
Like literally the half an hour of up, that kind of stuff. Like, when that will stop happening, at least be less prominent, I think the overall spirit of the player base will rise. More people will start playing because they don't have to go through that. And waiting for the best space sim ever will be much better time spent for more players, because like our endurance comes from us being like content creators.
You and
We
I
have to
yes.
endure. Yes, we have to endure, right? We it doesn't matter. We just go through it because that's what we do. Like people on the outside of this is like, I just see them bail. Like literally, they just cannot take it anymore. Like it takes
I had
quite
to say it to
a
somebody this morning because I was in that scenario where the game thought the server thought I was dead, my client knew I was alive, and they weren't communicating with each other. And
yeah, exactly.
it was really frustrating. And somebody was like, "Why do you still play this game then? I don't get it."
Yeah.
And people assume
And you cannot explain. You cannot even explain.
I think I did explain it pretty well. Is the one guy said, why don't you just go play something else then? And I said to that specific person, it was because I think you and I have slightly different reasonings here. Me personally, I love streaming. I love seeing the reactions from people in chat. I love going back and forth. I love having conversations like we are now. These kind of things. This is what I love doing. When I play other games, people don't watch. So there's nobody to talk to. So
yeah, well,
I keep playing
you could
this
play
game
it without the stream, right? Why would you care? Yeah,
exactly. Like I don't play Star Citizen off stream. I've done it a couple times recently to do Jumptown late at night with some other friends that I want to play with. Other than that, I don't. I would rather play Stellaris. I'd rather play F1. I would rather play literally anything else because of the.
I need to play Tarkov, by the way.
Yes.
Speaking of which.
Yeah, same. And like I would rather do those things, but because I love streaming, and this is the situation where I have the most fun streaming, I do play it. So we have more resilience because of that. But I worry, and I think for the game's health, I think that we're advocating for our own content creation a little bit. But in reality, I think we all know that if the game was better, they're going to make more money. More people, like the idea of you buying up into ships isn't going to change. So the more people that go, yo, this experience is pretty good. Now I want a Prospector. Now I want a C2. Now I want a Caterpillar. Now I want these things. Like, they're all going to buy those ships. There's going to be so many more ship sales. Records are going to be broken insanely if they just focused on the live experience. I truly believe that. And
yeah, me too. Me too.
And I think the most important
I want to know
what you
one
said
thing, though.
is advocating for, like, I wouldn't be afraid to advocate for the game to my friends. Right now, like, there are a lot of people that stream. There are a lot of people that are interested in Twitch. There are a lot of people that are interested in games that I work with. I don't recommend this game for any of them.
No,
but I will eventually.
My friends still ask me, and I say no, dude. Yeah. If you're not really made up the decision to go and play the game without me, don't ask me for making that decision for you. If like, you will not be satisfied. When new people come into the channel, obviously I want to farm their referrals, KW. So I will tell them to buy like $45 package, but
I don't even do that. I bet you I have less referrals than any other content creator.
Oh no, like, trust me. How much do you have? How much do you have?
Less than 200.
Well, I have less than 20, dude.
Oh, okay, so you're worse than me. Like, for out of everybody of our size, then, because like with the 100 plus viewer streamer in Star Citizen, most people have like 500 plus, I've noticed. And
no, I literally don't, because I don't really like spam that on my stream, right? It's just there. Eventually when someone new will come in, and I honestly speak from my heart, like when a person is already looking into the game, right? I'm not trying to cheese them into the referral or something. When a player is already looking, a person is already looking into the game, and like he just he's hesitant and he asks my opinion, like that's what I say. Get a $45 package. There is no subscription. You go in, you will struggle at first to
I
take
say wait for
off.
the free
You
flies.
yeah, yeah. Especially if the free flight is near, that's what I say too. But
Yeah.
overall, and honestly, that is my personal opinion. The experience Star Citizen can give you is kind of worth $45. Not more. Just go in there, enjoy the screenshots, and then decide if you want to go any deeper in the game. And the good part in that is once you buy it, you may abandon it and then come back in half a year or a year, and you don't have to pay anything. You don't have to like pay any subscription fee. Just go in and check new features. But that's literally my entire recommendation. I usually make sure person understands what kind of a PC they need to run it before like I will tell them to support the project. But yeah, I don't try to push people into playing. This is like it's a very hard experience. As
Yeah.
you have to know how to deal with bugs. You just have to.
Most
Otherwise,
of the
you'll go
experience
insane.
is that in particular, right?
Yeah, it's
Insane.
the half of your knowledge about Star Citizen is just workarounds,
Yeah.
and if you don't have that knowledge, you literally you need that. You need that. It's like you need to know how to play the workaround Citizen game, or you just you just cannot enjoy the game. You cannot enjoy the second part of the game, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. I just I don't know. I am optimistic because of two specific things. So like most of this you've been the more optimistic one, but for me, I think the decision to not put out actual 316 because it wasn't stable, and to basically put out 315 too and deliver Jumptown and allow people to play in a decent experience was a first for them to go, "Oh, we actually want our players to enjoy the game. Let's not treat this as a complete 100% alpha. Let's treat it also as a live service." Bang, they did that. There was one other thing, and I'm trying to think of what it was, that also makes me have a little bit more faith in 2022 than I have in the past.
No 30Ks, maybe.
No, it was no 30K issues with cargo haulers. So that heartbeat thing.
No. What I mean is, besides them fixing the creating this workaround band-aid for cargo, what I was more saying is that they really did a good job on stability. Like it's probably the most notable thing in 2021. Like if someone will ask me what was good in 2021 in Star Citizen, I would say the stability of the servers at the end of the year. Like I had one or two 30Ks in the entire 316. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something I really like clap, to CG that I don't know what magic they did. I just don't know what exactly
The
they
magic they
managed to
did is they
tackle.
didn't put out 316. They didn't put out any
No,
feature that was going to cause
I mean
instability.
even but I mean even 315, right?
Yeah.
It was super stable, right?
Yeah.
So they launched 315. There was some major issues, but on PTU they dealt with them, and this experience of almost no 30Ks, it went into 316 because there was no new features, as you say, and you're completely correct there. The patch is very shallow. Like one of the CG guys told me, we specifically did that so the holiday patch is not dreadful and people can actually enjoy, and that's fine. I think that's a very good decision. That is a very good decision from them. But overall, even talking about the 315, I think they did an insane job on stability of the servers, and I think that's the biggest thing for me personally in 2021.
Yeah.
That they accomplished. I don't know what was that magic, but they managed to pull it off.
And to keep it is super important for me. And then on top of that is to go, yes, we're building out this persistence thing in the future, but we're going to do this Band-Aid for cargo haulers right now. The idea of them doing Band-Aids and making sure that the experience is decent has been a first for them ever. and that was
Yes.
it took until 2021 for this to exist. But
Dude,
now that they're
it's
here,
insane.
like my faith is much higher that the experience will be decent, because now it's just a matter of, wow, the servers are staying up really long. Okay, we're seeing more bugs than we ever have before because the servers are staying up really long. Let's clean those up.
Yeah,
Now,
true.
now it's like, put those issues, let's fix those issues in PTU, and then bring a
True.
nice stable experience to live. Like, I don't care what is in 318 Cutlet. I don't care what's in it if we're not going to have a similar experience to what we're having now.
Yeah,
in
if we're
terms
gonna
of stability.
crash every freaking 5 minutes, or
Yeah.
the server's gonna crash, no
Leave
one
it on
will
the
care
PTU.
how good the piracy is.
I don't
Yeah.
care about quarterly releases anymore. Leave that shit on
Yeah,
the PTU.
me too. Me neither. Yeah.
Because they clearly don't anymore either, because they're not delivering something at the end of this quarter for the sake of stability. Please
I'm
keep
fine
it
with
that way. I
I'm
don't
fine
care.
with that. Yeah, yeah. Less content, especially useless content. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
More stability and more quality of life, and that what I think a lot of people in the community who actually play the game, who don't log in for an hour a week, or something, who actually play the game, would say the same. We bring less new content, but make it actually work. And if they go forward like that in future, I think a lot of players will appreciate it. A
And if
lot
you
of players will appreciate it.
Sure, and if you want to see new content, it'll be on the PTU. It just won't be as stable. Like for example, let's look at the cargo refactor, something that's really really important to us. I fully believe, and I think you would agree with me, that if that branch or those issues were so problematic that we were going to get 30Ks and there was going to be a ton of problems, then I would rather them leave it there and get those issues and those 30Ks and those problems fixed. And if people want to check it out, you can check it out on the PTU. But I want my
100%.
live build to be considered. The game can be an alpha on the PTU, and the game can be a live experience in live. And that's what makes Star Citizen unique, but they have to treat it that way. And they've never treated that way until Q4 of 2021. That was the first time, or I guess Q3 with 315. That's the first time that ever happened. Let's keep doing that.
Yeah, and I like that. Yeah. I like that. It's a funny thing. Remember me not playing SC and playing Starbase for quite a while.
Yeah.
They had an interesting practice. I think that practice is just not possible for Star Citizen by the nature of how they do the builds and everything else. But they had an interesting practice. So they had the PTU servers, right? And they had the live servers. And they were constantly adding features to the PTU servers. And then they were taking only the stable parts that work from the PTU servers into the live builds and adding them. So the moment you get a new PTU build, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that all the features that are on PTU are making it into the live build. So, okay, this works fine. It doesn't cause any instability. They will put it into live. And then a certain feature can stay on the PTU servers for multiple patches until it's ready to go live. That was really interesting to see how
don't most game companies have stable branch, experimental? Like, there's no reason. Like, CIG isn't really doing it that differently. It's just they don't give a. They
just
never
have
given
this
a
batches.
fuck.
CIG has this batches, right? So whenever something is on PTU, it's either they will completely call it out from the PTU and remove it, or they will push it like that to live, whatever state it is in.
They essentially replace the live build
like
with the PTU, right? That's basically what happens, and instead of adding the feature to the live.
Yeah. So they're not taking a specific, chopped off thing that works good and putting into live. So that's why I don't think they will move to necessarily that approach.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to see that in Starbase happening. Okay, this works. We'll put just this piece of code, insert it. But that's like a smaller company, smaller game. It's like it's completely different. You cannot expect that to happen. But that was nice. But overall, make it stable. Yeah, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Don't put
Don't push
something
it.
that doesn't work and degrade the experience of everyone. Like, why would I care on cargo refactor if I will 30k every 5 minutes? I will not be even be able to take that cargo, right?
Yeah.
Like, and sell it. What's the point in that? You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
doesn't matter. And like for me, what's the point of looting a player if their body just disappears all the time? I mean, that's the current experience we
Oh,
have.
dude. Oh,
You know.
man.
So
Dude, don't say it.
yeah, I mean
Don't
that's
say it.
super
It's so
triggering.
bad.
That's super triggering. So that's like one of
Yeah.
the things where it's like, hey, props to UCIG. I think you've done a really good job, but there's some things that like
But yeah.
absolutely need to get cleaned up for the current experiences to be not good or great, just playable, usable. It's not
I
usable if
think
the
there
body
is.
disappears.
Yeah, I think there is a major dissync issue going on right now on the servers, and it's kind of like a bit of a global thing. Like, I think something is wrong, and all these bodies disappearing and all that, and then invisible players. It might be the symptoms of one like issue that touches like all parts of gameplay. Maybe, I don't know, it's like unless you're a developer, you don't really know that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit sad to see that happening. And honestly, overall, that's I was surprised there was no work done in 316. Like, they pushed the inventory system, right?
Hmm.
And in 316, there was no improvements to that. I was a bit surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I thought we would have a bit of better UI to inventory. I thought we would have
Maybe it
like
is in
something.
316, but we're not playing
Come again?
316. I said maybe it actually is in the actual 316, but they only put in the couple fixes and features into like we are actually playing the 315 branch.
Yeah, 5.2 basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But we will see. We will see if they will do any work on that, because like the moment it went to PTU, like I hope to see like things like move all, like control shift alt click items to quickly move them, and nothing. Like, there was nothing that was done to the system that was pushed live at 315. I was a bit disappointed. We'll see how it
Sure.
moves forward.
I was disappointed, but I was also pleased at all at the same time. Um,
You
and
mean with the system itself?
I was pleased with the lack. Like I was disappointed with the lack of things in 316 versus the choice to have a lack of things and a lack of fixes. Because the whole thing is there's not only like I spoke to a few devs too, and one of the problems was there were a lot of fixes in 316 for the issues that we have in 315. But
And they broke even more, right?
well, as both of us, as most of us know, and I know for the sure, the two of us know that sometimes it's the bug fix that causes the instability, right?
Yes,
So
true,
there,
true.
it's hard
Yeah.
to bring everything in that they wanted to because it could have been the thing that's causing the issues.
Oh yeah, like stability overall over everything. I think it's the only way to go. I hope they keep the space of stability.
Yeah.
Remember long ago they talked about it, and like they have their threshold of stability when they
2
feel
hours, right?
confident on putting like it to live, right?
Yeah.
They have the threshold. If it's below it, it's not going to live. If it passed that stability threshold, they put it to live. And I hope this 315 and 316.0 stability is not something accidental.
Mm.
I hope they basically completely moved that threshold
The gold standard.
up, like up on the highest floor of skyscraper,
Mm-hmm.
and that's now how they want to move on from this patch and forward. Because if that is going to change further down the line, like in 316 whatever and 317 on 318, and we'll go back to our usual 30Ks experience on top of all other problems we do still have in the game, it would be
Be hard to play.
it will be hard to play. The morale will drop really low, especially of players who are not content creators who just want to play the
I mean,
game.
Cullet,
Uh,
we had a conversation early this morning. I woke up in the middle of the night because my cat was like being annoying,
yeah.
and we were talking for a minute, and like I think you mentioned like yeah, I'll come on the show. I'm just waiting for Jumptown. There's nothing else to do. So it's like,
Yeah.
the game itself is not that good. So without
Hmm.
something like Jumptown to bring us all together and make it better, if it's worse, it's really
Yeah.
not good. So
Yeah.
it does
True.
make it hard to not look at other games and go, yo, it's like I'll play anything else.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of this.
The only at the times when there is nothing to do, literally the only thing that keeps me playing Star Citizen is being a content creator. That's the plain truth.
Yeah.
I don't play it off stream. I rarely play it off stream. Sometimes maybe with the guys when there's something to do, but mostly it's. If we had more player interactions,
I only play off stream to interact with my North American friends that play after work. That's it. Like Zero State or Burks
friends,
or whoever.
Friends or viewers.
Yeah. It's just to hang out with my friends. It's not to play the game.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm not cargo hauling and trying to make millions in my off time.
Oh yeah. Because who cares on the money? Like,
we all
who
know
cares
it
on the
matter.
money? Like probably I would do more grind and all that if like losing the ship will cost you money, but it doesn't, right? So
yeah,
why would you care? Yeah, they need more player interactions. That's for sure. Like Jumptown and this emptiness without it showed it like so badly.
regardless of
Because
desync, it's still better.
it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. I'm able to take any desync up my ass, dude.
Yep.
If I do have the interactions, if I do like this thrill, because the main difference between like doing PvE or player interactions is developers don't need to invest time into making player interactions diverse in terms of like for PvE to be diverse, they have to implement multiple scenarios, and it like just you have to do more and more and more, so it's more diverse.
The
With
actual
the player
release
interactions,
game needs to be much more released to have PvE be really interesting.
Yeah, in terms of like player interactions, you can put up players in one scenario like Jumptown, and players by themselves, by the nature of being a human and doing everything different every time, you create a multiverse of interactions that are different. They might be similar in the logic, but they're different every time because you approach the task differently, and that what keeps you playing. That's basically why people can play like MOBAs, like Dotas or whatever, anything like for hours and hours and hours. So yeah, it's the same map. It's the same 5-on-5. It's the same 3 lanes.
But it's always
every game is
acting
different
and reacting. Right? There's no there's no reacting to the not too much, at least, to the NPCs in the game. You mostly just mow them down, collect their stuff, leave, and collect your
and
collect
players
your payments.
Are creating players are making it interesting for both sides every time, because you never know what player will, even if it's the same scenario, it doesn't matter. Every time it plays out different.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I got the text from the wife and said, you better be off in a few minutes because Mama is hungry. So I think, boy. I got the Mama is hungry. So we should probably start wrapping it up now. But is there anything like specific that you want to talk about for a couple minutes? Anything that's on your mind? Anything that you have planned in the future? I mean, you got any more YouTube videos you're planning on doing? I think I would super recommend your distortion video. I watched that. It's really long, but it's really, really informative.
Dude, I still remember that clip that you will never watch.
I watched the whole fucking thing, but it's really long.
Yeah, like there is a limit to this videos. I need like material to create those videos.
Yeah.
Like I don't even want, for example, to create a refreshed video on pinging and scanning like I did the one back in the day.
Jumptown guide? Kind of pointless. It's basically over.
It's like, dude, do I really look like a guy who will do guides, right?
I mean, like to an event. Distortion. Not to an event.
Yeah, but no. Like, dude, that is an in-depth thing on how the game works. Doing a guide to Jumptown is more like Captain Beck's stuff, right? Like he does the guides for every patch, for example. They're super popular. He has like insane views on them. He has like 100 or 200k views on just like what do you do in in 316. He got this niche so good. Like I cannot even do that. Like I don't want to do that. I understand it's stupid saying as a content creator, I don't want to do something that will grant you views, but it's just the way I am.
Yeah.
Like I want to dive down into a specific mechanic that is not very understandable on the first sight, and then chew it down, like let my brain work and then come up with an explanation right on stream and then make a video out of it. Like I wanted to do the same with the new like ping scan radar, but what they did was a shitty reskin to what we had. So it is more in depth, but unfortunately there is no like practical use of it for now. So when they nail it, I'll do something like that. I'll probably be doing some funny shorts at this point because that seems fun to do, just for the memes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I might I might return to doing Zero to Pirate like compilations from the old days, but that takes insane amount of time, dude. Like one video takes like a 20-30 hours of work. It's really hard.
Yeah, because you have to find people. Without that funnel, it's tough. And without being able to
loop
people,
no. What I mean is the editing itself takes 20-30 hours. Okay. Remember like Zero to Pirate episodes? I had like few of them.
Yeah.
It's insane how long it takes to edit. It's just crazy.
The part that's hard finding the content, like scrubbing through all the hours of video, or
it's everything. It's everything. It's like you usually like I had like half an hour episodes, and one episode would probably take like around 4 days of content approximately. So 4 days of content is going through 40 hours of footage, and then you want to edit it, which editing my own videos is pretty hard because the way I talk, I take a lot of pauses. I do this and you want to cut that out. So there's like cut like every fucking 5 seconds and do that. Like it's just insane, dude. But it's like whatever. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll come up with something. I don't want to, like, your wife texted you, so I honestly don't want to take more of your time that I did. And considering I wasn't like prepared for all of this, I didn't have specific
we did
agenda.
This last minute.
Yeah, I don't think I even have something to say. Like besides like and subscribe, SaltEMike on YouTube, and all that. So.
Appreciate it. Yeah. But yeah, same for Cutlet. So I'll do it for you a little bit. Cutlet live streams on Twitch on not really a specific schedule, correct? Kind of pop on when.
Yeah, I try to level out my schedule to my daytime. So I would probably, my ideal spot is to start streaming like 4 or 3.5 hours before this time, right? So it's my daytime, but that's, guys, don't believe in my schedule, dudes. It takes me like less than a week to start the stream at midnight and end up at 9 a.m. Don't believe me.
So yeah, and then he also has a YouTube channel, Twitter, making comments about the game as well. So if you're interested in Star Citizen, I hope we did a good job highlighting like just how much knowledge Cutlet has, and a really good person to stop by and talk to about the game and about the game's mechanics and how they work and how you could maybe work around some of the issues and things like that. I think Cutlet's a really good resource. So make sure you hit the follow button, go find his channel. Links will be in the description down below if you're watching on YouTube, on Twitch. I guess we weren't super prepared, so I didn't have like a command or anything today, but we can get that up for people as we end here or something. But I would just want to say thank you, Cutlet, because I did message you last minute, but this is what I want to do with you in the future for sure, is just come on, have some one-on-ones about something specific. If there's anything ever grinding your gears, let me know, and we'll do a impromptu podcast or something about it.
Oh, dude, I really appreciate it. Like, I had fun talking about it. I went in with one mindset. I shouldn't start like being super ranty and like screaming like crazy like I usually do, being super frustrated. And probably because I wasn't actually prepared and I didn't like take like all the aces out of my sleeves, you know. That's what kept me actually, I think at least I was a bit calm here talking and not going super crazy.
Hmm.
I think if I was like more prepared, it would be worse for the podcast, for the ATC, because
Maybe.
I would be like, oh man, I would be so shitty. And I'm like just came from the walk with my family, all that, like, okay, let's roll, so I'll just chill and all that.
Yeah, like I think both of our channels, if you go to them and watch us actually play the game, most of us is just yelling at the screen and going like, "Why CIG, man? This game sucks so fucking bad." Because that's what the experience is. If you actively actually try to play the game as if this is a video game, which you and I are the only two people stupid enough to try it, it ends up being pretty fucking frustrating. But I think that's why we get along so well too. Is our priorities for the game are to get to that experience as soon as possible.
To get the game. Yeah. I was going through the clips like yesterday to maybe make a little compilation of 2021. And I was one of the Jump Town clips I saw when I was literally screaming, as you said, at the monitor, just shouting in my mic saying, no, I'm going to fucking destroy my monitor right now. I was literally shouting, dude. I was so pissed. I was like, oh, now I know how my viewers feel shit.
Yes. When you actually watch yourself, it can like do you feel embarrassed? I get embarrassed. So I had the same thing.
I don't feel embarrassed.
I don't feel
embarrassed, but I don't. Yeah, I do a little bit embarrassed, but I think that for me personally, I think that's one of the things that keep me going.
Yeah,
is not hiding my feelings.
Yeah,
like behind my skin or whatever
dude,
you say.
imagine some of these people that do that. Like they must be going crazy at times. Like just, like,
I don't think they are. I think they're not oversaturated with the game, and they don't really care. I think a lot of content creators. I don't want to shit on anybody. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think some of the content creators are doing this just as a content creation, and Star Citizen is just a background. They don't really care. Like what I see common in me and you, we're very passionate. No matter how shitty we are about the game, we're very passionate about it, and we want actually for this to be a game. And actually, sometimes screaming in the camera and in like trying to break your monitor, hit it with something, is the only way to keep going. Because if you keep that frustration inside, at some point, it'll just like you'll burn out, and that's it. One day you will just not go online because you're just going to take it anymore. Like keeping smiling when everything falls apart around you in the game. I think it's just a way to keep going.
I saw there, and we'll leave it here because I just heard her in the other room. The one of the clips, because one of my friends put together all his favorite clips of mine for the whole year, and I just made a little compilation of it on my second channel. But going through those clips, I saw one where I was like, this is the worst game ever made because it's so close. It's right there, and it frustrates
I think
you
that's so close.
because you can taste it, and it's just so
I think
close.
Yeah.
And I think that was like the whole theme of the podcast.
It's like a striptease. It's like a striptease, dude.
Yeah.
It's like the girl is there, but there is nothing you can do with it.
Exactly. I think that was like basically the theme of the podcast was like, hey, I think you guys are starting to go really in the right direction. Let's keep doing that. And I'm pretty excited for the future. And hopefully Piracy is pretty fun. And like after JT, I've said it a bunch of times, but I've never wanted to just kind of play with other people and interact and do those things more than ever before. But all right.
Yes.
Cutlet, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It gets you the feeling. It gets you the taste of that.
100%. So again, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it for coming on last minute.
You're welcome. My pleasure, dude. My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. I did really appreciate the talk, dude.
Yeah. Let's do it again soon sometime. All right.
Yep. Everyone, peace out, boys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, that was SpaceCutlet. Thank you again, Cutlet, for watching. Again, we'll put his links in the description down below for YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, we do this every Sunday, starting at around 10 a.m. Eastern time. Usually this show is a little bit different, so I'll kind of explain because there were some people in chat that didn't know. I don't usually just have one content creator on and where we talk about our thoughts or whatever. Usually, if we have a content creator on, we come and have some calls after. Today, I didn't do that because I am short on time. We're going to go get some lunch with my wife and stuff. But in general, that's the show. The show is about regular people who don't have a voice on Twitch or don't have a voice on YouTube the way somebody like myself or SpaceCutlet or Morphologist or Burks or whoever I bring on the show. It allows you guys to come on and have a voice. So today's a little bit different, but in the future you guys can do that. So if you have anything you guys want to talk about, we can come on the show and do that. So again, twitch.tv/SaltEMike to do that, YouTube, SaltEMike, and discord.gg/SaltEMike for all the ways to interact with the podcast. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.